Shopping is a huge aspect of American culture. When one thinks of the average group of American teens, chances are they will be pictured at the mall. We don't just shop for the things that we need, but for the items that we desire, oftentimes due to pressures put on us by society. Shopping has also become a social experience. It's something we enjoy to do. Both consumerism and the fast-paced nature of trends going in and out of style have led to the development and growth of what has been coined as fast fashion. Fast fashion can be traced back to the 1990s, when the New York Times used the word to describe Zara's fast production model. Fast fashion rapidly brings trendy, affordable clothing to the general public. However, there are many issues that arise with it. Today, I will be discussing the negative impact of fast fashion on both humans as well as the environment, and I'll take a look at some alternatives to supporting the industry. To begin with, let's take a look at how fast fashion has a negative effect on people. According to Kim, Ho, and Yoon in the Journal of Fashion Marketing and Management, an emphasis on speed, quantity, and size drives the consumption nature of industries to the point where they have inevitably begun to encounter problems. These problems are often threats to human well-being. In order to produce mass amounts of clothing, brands like Zara and H&M often resort to using sweatshops and child labor to max out their profits. Over the past few decades, the media has hounded on big companies exposing these inhumane practices. Most clothing companies have made promises to ethically source their products. However, almost all have still used sweatshops in third world countries. According to Cortez II and others in the Academy of Marketing Studies journal in 2007, Gap sweatshops in India were exposed by an undercover investigator. In this sweatshop, children worked for 16 hours a day. In 2011, Zara sweatshop in Sao Paulo, Brazil was discovered by local government. The factory, which was operated by a local contractor, AHA, was responsible for 90% of Zara's product in Brazil. Kraus, in his Cambodia, describes a case study revealing the tragic cycle of Chinese immigrants moving to Italy to find work. It requires the workers to work when there is work. They have to be available. They have to find long shifts up to 16 to 18 hours when there are orders to fill. Those trendy items flying off store shelves. They have to work nights and squeeze and sleep during the day. They have to sew in workshops without temperature control, making for dank and cold environments in the winter and a blistering hot one in the summer. When they have children, they are not able to take care of them because of their long hours, and their children are often sent back to China to live with grandparents. Dr. Rufford and Chu in the BMC International Health and Human Rights reveal another case study following a female worker in Bangladesh. She sits on a small wooden stool without a backrest for 10 to 12 hours each day. She sews the cuffs on shirts 100 per hour for the whole day, which puts constant pressure on her fingers and wrists. The sitting arrangements at work cause constant pain in her back. The work is monotonous and repetitive. The poor lighting, inhaling the fabric dust, and heat in the factory environment may contribute to the headache and eye irritation. Fast fashion doesn't just hurt the producers, but also the consumers. Having to keep up with rapidly changing trends can cause societal pressures, especially on adolescent women. Now that I have explained the negative effects of fast fashion on people, I will explain its impact on the environment. To begin with, the globalization of fashion is what kickstarts fast fashion. The U.S. grows the products needed to make the garments and ships it to other countries where the labor is less expensive. Then, the final product is shipped back to the States. The United States is the largest exporter of cotton in the world. According to Luz in the Environmental Health Perspectives, this crop accounts for a quarter of all pesticides used in the United States. Monocropping has other harmful effects on the environment, including soil erosion and the pollution of groundwater supplies. There are little regulations in third world countries where the clothing is produced. Chemicals on the clothes, such as dyes, can cause environmental damage by leaching the chemicals into the ground. Luz also states that Americans purchase approximately 1 billion garments made in China each year. This is the equivalent of 4 pieces of clothing for every U.S. citizen. Producing this much clothing is very wasteful, and it inevitably ends up in landfills, like the one pictured here. Now let's take a look at a chart. Here we can see the ever-growing amount of clothing sales as each year goes by, whereas the clothing utilization continues to decrease, which is as a result, more and more clothing is ending up in landfills. There are several alternatives to supporting the wasteful cycle of fast fashion. For example, instead of disposing of unwanted garments, they can be donated to charities. Ferrand, Olson, and Waddell in the International Journal of Life Cycle Assessment shows the reduction of impacts resulting from collecting 100 garments for reuse, ranging from 14% decrease of global warming from a cotton t-shirt to 45% reduction of human toxicity for a pair of polyester cotton trousers. Another option is to shop secondhand. Clothes that have been donated to thrift stores can be in great condition and can be worn again. Buying thrifted items means that you are not directly supporting an industry run on sweatshops and child labor. Another great option is to support local clothing stores. Not only does this help the environment as well as those living in third world countries, but it also stimulates the local economy, which enriches where one lives. Back in the 90s, the development of fast fashion seemed like a great advancement for the clothing industry. However, it ended up doing more harm than good. Ultimately, it is up to us to put a stop to the cycle of fast fashion. As the consumers, we have the power to change how clothing is produced. So, the next time you want to buy a new garment, try to purchase it secondhand or from a local business.